Okay, hey guys, here is a strat I started doing this league. It revolves around running these things with Aegon called memories. And the idea is you want to run them, get the boss fragment, and then sell the boss fragment and repeat the cycle. This works all league. Early league, it's probably the least profitable, but it's quite good still. For instance, a memory of reverence here at the very start of the league was something around 7 to 10C depending on the day. By the middle of day 2 you started to see a lot more on the market, and then by day 3 there was just a huge number of them, and they never really got past 25C. However, the Echo of Reverence, the boss fragment that comes from the end of these, by day 2 we're already looking at 60 chaos fur. So comparison, you're going from 10 to 60. It's quite a nice flip. Day 3, somewhere in the realm of 70, and you're still getting them around 10. So 60C is pretty good flip there. Not to mention, with the way that we can set up our Atlas, we can end up getting Searing Exarch pretty early on. And the idea is simply just to path up to Unwavering Vision, get Baptized by Fire, get Packed with Energy and some Nico chants, and then get Shrines. Now, everything else on this tree, like Refiner's Bargain and extra Echo drop chants and stuff like that, can be very useful early on, especially when getting something like Grasp of the Past, where you get higher memory fragments on gear, can be very, very good early on for gearing your character. But ultimately, this is the idea. You take a memory, you put it on a map that you can get to the boss extremely quickly, something like City Square. And all we're going to do is talk to Aegon. No, we're not even going to roll a map, and we're just going to go in. Now, during the map, you have one goal and one goal alone. That's to trigger Searing Exarch, which we just did right there. Once he's triggered and you see his first shrine pop up, you can immediately go to the boss and kill the boss. Now we've made progress, and we get these nice little options at the end. Now, realistically, these don't matter. Sometimes you're going to get some things that are aligned to what you're doing, like shrines. Other times you may get things that give you things relative to other Atlas trees you might want to do, like Breach and Expedition for me. Otherwise, you just continue running. You get maps that are quick, let you go to the boss fast, and that's that. So, early league, I think this is extremely valuable to do for two reasons. One, it'll allow you to practice something called bossing with no gear. This is really, really good to learn in this game because it is a game about killing difficult enemies really early on. Speedrunning super early in leagues is really fun for me, so I like getting to bosses quick, and this allows you to do that. But if you have no interest in doing the bosses and you just need some early currency or gear to get your character rolling, this is a good way to do that as well. You'll be dropping a lot of memory fragments so you can roll some halfway decent gear, and you'll be getting quite a few maps and other drops like that as well. You'll be able to get a good amount of Nico dust so you could do delving and get fossils to help gear out your character too if you're on solo self-found or something of that sort. Ultimately, though, I think this is really solid. As you can see, we're about to get to the bossing map, and it hasn't even been 2 minutes yet. We've just been kind of cruising through these things. And yeah, this is the strategy. It's very, very easy, very relaxed. I have many things turned off on my filter because at this point in the league, I don't really care about picking up currency. But if you were early league and you wanted to do something like, I don't know, pick up these coastal things for doing the ship, or you wanted to farm really early, shrines like these or whatever, you could easily do that and get away with it. This is also very good for a weak character because you do pick up something like shrines, you do pick up Packed with Energy, so you're ultimately going to be getting to every single boss with something along the lines of 105% increased damage and maybe a couple shrines that actually boost your damage. These things add up and they make your character feel very good, so that when you do come up to these bosses, they actually fall over. So, for instance, I've got, well, you can't really see it, but I've got, 4 or 5 shrines going. I've got packed with energy. I've got little minions that the boss is going to be hitting instead of me. Granted, my character is basically immortal, but at the start of a league, if you're playing like Toxic Rain or something, this could be extremely valuable. So giant minions, freezing, so it chills them, resistances and regen, more health and shocks, right? So makes it really easy. And there's our boss fragment. So we ended up getting 4 Searing Exarch progress in that short amount of time, and we ended up getting a decent amount of currency gain. Later in the league, obviously, things have gotten a little bit more expensive, so 66 for a memory, but fragment is now worth 370, so pretty good currency flip for that short amount of time. And yeah, that's that. You can also get like nightmare maps along the way. You get Searing Exarch progress, which is worth a decent amount too, but ultimately I think this is a very good strategy. Once again, early on in the league, you're looking at around, 10C to 60, so not as huge of a flip, but this is only for the reverence. If I were to look up another memory, for instance, loneliness, if I could spell loneliness, we look at the echo here. The echo of loneliness at the start, which is the boss fragment, is 30 something, and then if we look at the memory of loneliness at the start, it was somewhere around 2C. So 2C to 20, pretty dang good. And even maintained 2C a couple days in, and it started to go up to around 50 and 60. So as you can see, this is a pretty solid amount of currency early on. Very, very easy. Don't roll the maps, no investment there. All you do is get Aegon and you apply threads. That's it. There's a couple other neat strategies you can do with this. You can do a destructive play tree where you run different memory maps, and it allows you to progress your Maven very, very quickly because you do get the easy access to shrines and Nico power. So you'll have a little bit of extra power killing these bosses with the Maven interfering, and you'll be good there. I believe there also is Maven for these, what's it called? The courtyard bosses, the remembered bosses, right? Like the echoes that you're actually farming the fragments for. You do need those for Maven early on, so that's a good way to do it. I still haven't even done it on this character, with mirror gear, but regardless, it's a really good way to get those. And if you sometimes get little pedal things at the end, you get 2 choices of the boss. Sometimes you can get something very powerful early league, like 3 extra essences, and essences are always top tier, or you can get extra abysses that always lead to a depth for an early Stygian Vise. You could get like extra breaches, you can get more currency, you can get more scarabs that drop. There's some pretty powerful things you can actually get from these originator maps, and you don't even have to roll them. They will just give you more drops, which is great. Also, when you run Maven, you'll get Maven fragments, you'll get chisels. Those can sell for a lot. And you get these things very, very fast because your only goal is really just to get to the boss as quickly as you can. You don't care about any other loot whatsoever. You don't need to be tempted to pick up alterations because you're not rolling anything. You don't need to be tempted to pick up alchemies because you're not rolling anything. Scourings, you're not rolling anything. Wisdom scrolls, why the fuck would you pick up any gear to begin with? You don't need gear. The only gear that you actually need to get is the memory fragment gear off the end of the boss, right? We just killed this guy, and he dropped, a 2-handed with memory fragment, a dagger with memory fragments, a ring, and another 2-hander, and some other garbage. But the idea is you take these things and you check them out, and they're always going to have some pretty fucking solid rolls, right? Like this is tier 2 lightning, or tier 3 lightning, tier 2 wed, tier 2 attack speed. Now, this is a pretty solid early game dagger if you're playing anything with like dagger hits. You know, you can get pretty high flat for physical with crit and attack speed. If I were to put a Fizzroll on this, you would have a pretty damn solid Karui Maul. It's already 400 DPS right now. If I were to put like a Fizzroll on it with, you know, X, which is actually pretty cheap, we're looking at 500 something Fizz DPS with no quality, with a bad roll, right? You know, you can get some pretty solid pieces early game with this stuff. Rings even. Look, 80 life, 35 cold res, and it still had some left over. The idea is that you have a very easy, fast strategy with no investment early on that allows you to run maps without thinking about what map you're going to run next. You literally just click the button and get to the end. Very powerful strategy. Highly recommend it. I'm very glad I found this when I did. Some random YouTuber I was looking at with like 20 views or something found it. This probably will only get 20 views, but I think it's a great strat. Highly recommend it. Easily, in my opinion, this is easily the best league start strategy, and I'm going to do it every single league from now on because it is extremely powerful with no investment, and it's easy. Okay, that's it. Have a good one.